Welcome everyone to the Latte podcast. Now spring is springing, it's in the air, and this podcast is a special for you. If you are living with a partner and you're not married, this is what lawyers want you to know. So a bit of context, 3.6 million couples live together unmarried, and what they believe is that if you separate, or some of them, not all of them, some of you believe that if you separate, that you have automatic legal rights to the home. So I've got Alberta, head of family law, here to talk a little bit more about the reality of what rights the law does give you. So Alberta, what rights do people have, unmarried couples have, to the home if they separate?
Right. So let's separate this. The definition of marriage under common law is very different to cohabiting couples. You may be cohabiting with your partner for over 10 years or 20 years. And one may argue that, well, it's the same thing. We are separating our responsibilities. We're putting in our efforts. We're paying the mortgage together. So it's the same thing, like that we're married. It's really not, because if it comes to that point that you're now separating and that house is not in both names, for instance, the person whose name the title deed is will have the automatic right of staying in. Having said that, it's not automatic, because you may have children and there may be some other alternative remedies that the court may award towards the other partner who doesn't have the name there under equity, but it's evidential and you have to prove your input, you have to prove loads of things, and it's really complicated. So yes, unfortunately the law does not recognize your rights if you are only cohabiting as they do if you were married.
It sounds like a headache. I mean, because, you know, naturally, if you've lived with somebody for, say, 10, 15 years, you've moved into your partner's home and you suddenly separate, it's a bit of a shock or a bitter pill to swallow that you actually don't have any home rights. So is there anything you can do? Say I'm about to move in with my partner, not really that keen on getting married, as you know. So it's like if you just wanted to move in with your partner but still have some sort of protection for the future.
Yes, of course, there is measures that you can take to protect your position. One of them would be, for instance, if your partner owned the property and the property that you're moving in is under his name, you can always add your name into the mortgage. You can always add your name into the property title deeds. You can contribute, for instance, if you have a deposit there, you can offer him part of the deposit. But once you put your name in the title deeds, then you have an automatic right to stay in that property, or if you were to separate, then he cannot just basically just chuck you out.
Which is good to know. That's the thing, I mean, a lot of couples perhaps find it difficult to have these kinds of conversations because you don't want to talk about separating. However, like
it's just prudent to have some sort of measures in place. For instance, owing a property, you can owe that property as joint tenants or tenants in common. So joint tenants, say you are a couple that you're starting your life now, both of you have saved some money and you want to put a deposit down towards buying your first purchase, and say you want to go on equal footing, that would be joint owners. So if you were to separate, unfortunately, then you would be entitled to half of that property, whatever the value is at the time that you're separating. If you join later on in that property, for instance, your partner has purchased it, you can join in and you can be tenants in common. Tenants in common, it comes with a share percentage. So, for instance, he can be 70% share owner, you can be 30% share owner. But what it genuinely means is you have a secured right to that property. You cannot just simply be left homeless.
Yeah, it gives you that security.
Yeah, that security.
Another agreement I've heard of as well is and I'd love to have your opinion on this, is the cohabitation agreement. How valuable do you think they are? Do you think they are worth drafting up?
Well, let me explain. English law does recognize them as a contract, as a valid contract if they are drafted and executed properly. However, family law and judges, I have to say that I'm very much agreed with this. They go on the principle of equity. So yes, they have to take into consideration the intention of the parties at the time that this agreement was entered into, because it's a valid contract agreement, and it can respect their wishes, but only if it thinks that the circumstances of the couple or the family, as they may be, are not drastically changed from the time that they've drafted this agreement. What it means in practical terms: say you are a couple when you started your life and you've drafted an agreement and you said, okay, whatever I earn as Ashley is going to go as Ashley, and if I buy a property in Ashley's name, this will be Ashley. If Oliverta buys a property, so this is my earnings and I buy that property will be mine. But if Ashley and Oliverta decide 50% of her earnings and 50% of my earnings goes into a common pot, and that joint property will be split 50-50, then these are the agreements that we kind of draft for couples. But then we forget that as years go by, the traditional roles in some families, the woman decides to maybe just sit back and have children and take that primary caregiver role in a home, and then the father or the man carries on contributing financially and is mostly out. Now, having said that, in 10 years' time, the father has considerably advanced in his career. So he's earning a lot more, whereas the woman, the mother, has stayed home. Of course, she's given her contribution by raising the children and doing everything else. But when it comes to finances, her finances are weaker. Now, if you had that agreement drafted and you said 50-50, and whatever he's earning, and in 10 years, he may have earned £1 million and he may have bought 3 houses, but he put it in his name because it was his earnings. Now, if the judge was to respect that after 10 years, then it means that this man walks away with 3 houses and the mother is left homeless.
And like your work is disregarded, and also like if you've supported
and it's
their
not
career,
fair.
no, it's not fair.
The English courts go with the equity and they go with fairness. So they will respect your contract. If you as couples have contributed equally to the upbringing of the children, you didn't drop your career, and if you said 50-50 and everything, it's considerably very similar to your position from the outset, then of course the judge will respect your wishes. So yes, it is advisable to have that contract, because it gives the judge some sort of
something to go by.
But it doesn't mean that he will respect it to the letter.
I like that. It's a bit of a comfort, isn't it?
It's
good comfort to know that. So if
you have the pre and you have the post. So you have the contracts which are done before you actually move in, and you have contracts after you have moved in. Yeah,
that is the nice thing about having like judges that apply context, and they're human at the end of the day, and they're going to look at a cohabitation from a human point of view. So just Oliverta, because I know we're going to have to wrap up soon, have you got any final advice for couples that are either living together, currently unmarried, or looking to move in together? What would be your advice to them from a lawyer's point of view? What would you want them to know?
Well, right, so for those who know me, they know that I am not the romantic type.
Romantic in her own way, very romantic about coffee.
Yeah, the romantic type in the sense of I like certain measures, I like certain practicalities. We are adults. We live in a world which is mainly driven by money. There is bills, there is obligations. Yes, you have to love and you have to respect your partners, but you also have to be very mature and cautious about your steps, especially if you're forming a relationship and if you're forming a family. You taking measures and you being careful does not mean that you don't love your partner. Having that conversation from the outset is actually clarity. It's actually very good, because it sets the goals from the outset as to what do you want to be at in a certain point in 10 years' time, for instance. Yes, you are within your right not to choose marriage. If that's what works for you, fantastic, why get in? But make sure that if you're purchasing property, purchase that property in joint names.
Yeah.
Do not just go in with good intentions and faith. Because let's remember, when you divorce, you have loved that person at one point in time.
Separate, yeah, if you're not. Yeah, I think that's true. Because like you're saying, follow your heart, but protect your future. And there are ways of doing that. And
that doesn't mean that you're not romantic. It just means you're mature and cautious.
And every relationship in itself is an experience. So if it allows you to enjoy and indulge in that relationship more, knowing you've got that security in place, makes sense. It's a win-win. So
it just gives you some peace of mind.
Yeah, peace of mind. And that's what lawyers are here for. So on that note, thanks Oliverta for joining us today. And thanks everyone. If you've got any questions, do pop them along, because we will answer them, and we'd love to support you if you need it. Oliverta is always a call away. Have a great day, and we'll see you next week.